And he appeared at the Republican National Convention with a bandage around his ear.
Yeah.
And people still clapping. And people were chanting, fight, fight, fight there.
That could become his, like what the pineapple was for Tharman. Like the ear bandage could be the thing for Trump.
Yeah, you show support. You show support with
and
the
make
ear
America
bandage.
great again. A MAGA ear bandage.
Fucking MAGA ear bandage.
Yes.
Walao. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yeah.
How was the weekend, man?
Not bad. I was away. I spent it in Bangkok, Thailand. A lot of new perspectives and all.
Like what?
Just understanding Bangkok a lot better as a city. And, seeing that there are a lot of issues with inequality and all things like that. Even an experience as a tourist itself.
Oh, last time you go, you just party and eat only.
Yeah, last time
you don't care about all the inequalities.
Shopping at Chatuchak, that kind of thing. Now, like when you spend more time, hang out in malls, because I got a kid and everything, right?
Yeah.
Then you realize that, there are a lot of these questions come up like, hey, this is so expensive. It's like price is what it is in Singapore, But what are people earning? What kind of money are people earning here on the ground and things like that? And then you realize, hey, there's like a tourist economy and then there's the local economy. Kind of like that. Starting, a bit of like, we discussed a lot about in Singapore how it's starting to feel like, hey, it's like a rich person's playground. Right? And in certain quarters of Bangkok, I felt that a lot. That's only for like tourists to come and enjoy.
I see. But your kid enjoyed it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. We did all the touristy stuff.
But anything there for kids that you cannot find in Singapore?
The space, right? You can't find that kind of space.
Bangkok very cramped, what?
Yeah, but when they have a theme park for kids and things like that,
it's all out.
It's really like a park, not just an indoor gym or anything. It's a indoor playground, indoor park.
I see.
Yeah.
But it must have good food also.
Yeah, decent. If you like Thai food, great place. Yeah,
great place.
A lot of Singaporean food also. Yeah.
So you rejuvenated lah.
Okay lah. I would say every time I go to places, maybe I spend too much time thinking about all these kind of things.
Yeah, go there, people want to relax all. You start dissecting the social fabric.
Yeah. But it's inevitable, right? Like, now that we talk about current affairs, you just end up thinking about these things.
You have the lens on.
Yeah.
You have the lens on.
And not particularly educated one at that. Sometimes it's just anecdotes and stuff like that, right?
I see.
How about you? How was your weekend?
My weekend, okay. Nowadays, like the weekend, I guess, what did I do? Well, I think I went to pick up something from Carousel because like preparing for the kid, coming. So just errands.
Yeah, errands. Yeah. Errands all the way.
Errands all the way. Enjoy
the errands while, because you can still do them like freely.
What the hell did I do over the weekend?
Yeah.
Saturday. I think I went for a walk with my wife, which was nice. Then had breakfast and all.
Yeah.
It's the simple. I'm a simple man. The simple life.
By choice or not? That's the question.
Simple life. That one is a whole other discussion.
Yeah. No, but then there was the Euros, the final of the Euros, the Wimbledon, and what we're going to discuss. So a lot of things happened on the weekend, right?
I didn't watch either of those.
Yeah.
Wimbledon, was the final late or early?
No, it ended before midnight, on Sunday.
It ended before midnight,
Yeah.
Oh shit, I should have tried to watch. I wasn't aware.
Yeah. So Spain had a very good weekend, basically.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Both Spanish champions.
Yeah. Just last week we were talking about, the Spanish squirting tourists with water guns.
Yeah.
Then they fucking two champions.
Exactly.
But yeah, another bombshell happened over the weekend, which we will dive into.
Yeah.
But before that, what's our regular spiel, Terrence?
Welcome to Yalabat, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing, following, sharing on all your social media channels and all, because that really helps this channel grow.
And if you want to work with us, you can check out our website, ministryoffunny.com. You can drop us a message there and we will get back to you.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Cool.
So we were just talking about the weekend.
Yeah.
But over the weekend, on Saturday, US time, on something monumental, like once in a generation happened.
Yeah. This one, everyone was talking about it, even in Bangkok and all.
Yeah. And it was an attempted assassination on former President Donald Trump.
Yeah.
During a rally
in Pennsylvania.
Where we both spent time when studying.
the state lah, the state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
It's a very big state lah.
Yeah, it is huge. We were in Philadelphia lah. But yeah, it was, and basically, I'm sure you would have heard of it. You may have seen the moment in time when it happened. But basically, he was giving a rally at about 6 p.m. In Pennsylvania. He comes on, and I think in about like 5 minutes, when he just happened to turn to his right to describe a chart showing immigration statistics, there are some gun shots that ring out. And after a few shots, he clutches his right ear and ducks below the podium.
Yeah.
And then the Secret Service come, they group hug him to kind of like shield him and usher him off. Just before he's ushered off, he sticks his palm out and mouths, fight.
Yeah.
And there were streaks of blood across his face. And then after that, it was confirmed that it was an assassination attempt. But how did you first hear about this?
No, when I woke up, I think it was Sunday, right? Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
I woke up, I was checking like Reddit or something, and I saw that, alleged gunshots or something like that rang out at Trump rally. And I was thinking that, was it like a hoax or a mistake or something that, whether balloons burst and they thought it was gunshots. And I from everything that I was scrolling through, I couldn't even tell that he actually had been shot, that he was actually injured, because it was that fresh. It was like, I don't know, like posted a few, like within an hour of it happening. So there was a lot of confusion, and I think even in the media headlines, they were not saying that necessarily that it was an assassination attempt. They just said gunshots rang out. So I thought it could be like,
a shooting or something.
Yeah, when you walk past Lim Chu Kang, sometimes got this live firing and all that, then you hear gunshots, right? But you don't duck or anything. So I just thought it was in the background. But then as the news started coming out, then I realized, actually this is serious. And it's like what you said, you rarely see this kind of thing happen. Right?
Yeah.
How about you?
I remember, I think I saw talk of it first, maybe even on Reddit.
Yeah.
And then I saw the video, and then I saw him duck. I initially thought it was a shooter who was shooting at the crowd. Because in the US, it unfortunately happens more often than anyone likes, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine it was being shot at him. Then when I saw him clutch his ear, I was like, is that shrapnel or something?
Yeah.
Again, like assassination didn't occur to me because it feels so far-fetched. I mean, like, to be honest, every time I see these rallies that are in open areas, part of me is like, wait, is it even safe? But I would imagine like there's a lot of detail that goes into, the safety of events like this.
Yeah.
So I took it for granted.
Yeah.
Then saw the photos, saw him, with his fist and all. Then I was like, oh shit, did he really get shot? And I think it was in our group when someone shared an article saying he got shot.
Yeah.
Then I was like, oh shit, he really was the target.
Yeah.
And then after that, everything else has unfolded. And then you see a lot of people talking about it. I think all the world leaders came out with statements, or even Joe Biden himself at 8 p.m. that night, he came up with a speech to kind of denounce it.
Yeah.
And then I think the shooter was killed pretty soon after the shooting.
Yep.
And that was, I think, by 6:12 p.m. the shooter was killed. Unfortunately, one other attendee was killed and two others are critically injured.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now we are recording like a few days later. Still feels like everything is in disarray. No one really knows how this is going to impact. I think there's been a lot of talk about how this might sway voters.
Yeah.
But, well, for you, like, what are your thoughts right now?
I think the biggest question on my mind was, what was the motive? Because I think the shooter is a 20-year-old man who apparently is a registered Republican in the US, means he supports Donald Trump's party. Plus, he works in a nursing home as an aide or something, right? So, a history of like, is that big history of crime? I think no lah. But and you look at the photos of him that are coming out, he looks really young, right? Like I don't know, just graduated high school almost, So very curious, like what exactly was motivated him to do it, right? I think that's the one big thing that I've been thinking about. But also the other side of it is like, how could such a thing happen?
Yeah.
Like what you say, usually you would imagine the security would be planned out to a T. I think we've seen it at like, NDP or National Day parades, or even anytime there's any any politician, especially speaking or what, there's always a lot of bodyguards around. So for something like that to have, slipped through the cracks, just sounds kind of like, how is it even possible, right?
Yeah. I mean, for me, those questions are there. The first question about motive, I always get confused when people say, what was the motive? I mean, to me, like, he just wanted to kill him.
Yeah, but why?
He doesn't like him.
Yeah, but why? If he's a registered Republican, why he doesn't not support his own?
I mean, you can always support a party but not support an individual, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So especially Donald Trump, who is so polarizing. Like, I can't imagine, like, what would a motive be aside from just wanting him dead?
I mean, perhaps it's for like a lot of the school shooters. A lot of times, in fact, now people are digging up his past in high school and everything, and that he was bullied as well. So was there an act of, fuck the world kind of revenge, an act of revenge against the world to just fuck things up, right? Or was it a more calculated thing that he saw Donald Trump as like a real threat or menace to society? So, I mean, I think that's interesting to understand also, just the psychology of like the murderer also.
I see. So that means the long build-up, like what led him to that?
What was the ultimate reason for it? Yours is a very on the surface kind of reasons. Why did he want to shoot him? Yeah, because he wanted to pull a trigger. And why did he want to pull a trigger? Oh, because he...
So as opposed to like saying, hey, Harish, why are you eating chicken rice?
Yeah.
My answer is like, because I'm hungry. But for you, it's like, no, because, your body needs nutrition to nourish your cells and grow them, and you need that sort of context.
No, yeah, I'm trying to find out to that answer of like why you're hungry, or your body's hungry. But you're saying, oh, because I like chicken, that kind of thing.
Then the conversation ends there.
The conversation ends there, yeah. It's very like, oh, okay, come on.
So that means like maybe less about the motive, but like I guess motivation.
Motive, I mean, when there's a murder case, the number one thing is to prove the intention and motive, right? A motive that leads to the intention to kill, right? So I think we're just basically differentiating between intention and motive. Like, the intention was to try and kill Trump, but what was the motive behind that intention?
Okay. I see.
Okay. Is my curiosity is it validated?
Oh no, I have that same curiosity also, but maybe the semantics. The semantics was what was mattered.
Okay.
But I mean, so I mean, a lot of questions. I think like what you said, the second half of like what you're saying, that one, I think, I mean, there's going to be a bunch of investigations in place. Because if you look at the setup of the rally, right, it's a very open space.
Yeah.
And like, I would imagine if you're setting up security, right, your eyes would be on rooftops like this. And there were snipers stationed on the rooftops right behind the podium.
Yeah.
So then again, it's like, oh shit, how did they miss this? And he wasn't super camouflaged.
Yeah.
If you looked at the roof, and there were accounts of bystanders kind of saying they stole the authorities, but I think a policeman tried to climb up, but the shooter pointed his gun at them that caused them to back down, and then he immediately opened fire.
There are videos. You can find
videos.
a handheld vertical video of somebody who basically points his camera at the
shooter,
at the roof, at that structure, and then he zooms in and you can see the shooter crawling up to the roof, taking position. And I think you can literally, they are saying, I'm paraphrasing, but they are saying on the video like, oh, hey, someone call the cops, there's someone on the roof, everything, things like that. So it's literally out there that just people, bystanders, could see it happening in real time, just a minute before the attempted assassination.
Yeah, and it was the guy was 430 feet away.
Yeah.
So I mean, it sounds like a lot, but if like a gun shooting that sort of distance is not unfathomable.
Yeah,
right.
100. That's what 100
plus meters.
100 plus meters.
Right.
Yeah. Totally doable for in the army and all.
Even for NS at BNT, we shoot what 200 meters.
Yeah.
So, of course, it's not a moving target or anything. Like.
Yeah.
But this one, I mean, apparently he borrowed the rifle from his dad. Apparently he bought bullets right before going to the rally.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a lot of questions. Of course, he is not the president. He is running for president. But I would imagine his security detail would also be very extensive.
I mean, when you saw the security, the Secret Service jumping, piling on top of him during that period, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that that's like protocol for protecting the president, like when in the event of attack, or is it like they're just reacting?
No, I think it's protocol, but it also didn't feel like the most like bulletproof lah.
Yeah.
Right. I would imagine they would duck his head down.
Yeah.
Also, he is quite tall. He's like 6'7" or something.
Oh, I don't know if he's that tall, but he's tall, yeah.
I think he is tall.
He's 1.9 meters, basically. Yeah.
Oh, so about 6'1", 6'2" lah.
I don't know what is it in feet, but yeah. Okay.
6'3". I mean, tall lah. Because I was thinking, wouldn't you want to cause him get him to duck so that there's no visibility at all?
Is that what they did? They tapok him, right?
Tapok, but then he could still stick his head out,
That was later when they were moving.
Oh, the initial tapok.
The initial tapok. Yeah, it's just one pile.
Yeah.
What was the last time the soldiers, the Roman soldiers would, get
the turtle shell.
The turtle shell almost.
But I guess because they all have bulletproof vests.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think Donald Trump has bulletproof vests.
Yeah.
But I mean, the unfortunate thing about all these questions, right, is also there is the inevitable talk that, could this be staged and shit like that.
Yeah, conspiracy theories.
And all that.
I mean, there's even people are even calling out the media headlines, right?
Yeah.
Like, for not calling it an assassination attempt. And they were calling it a shooting and things like that. I saw even some people saying, hey, how come this is not considered a terrorist attack, things. But I mean, I think there's some, the meanings of the words actually do matter, but once it was officially an assassination attempt, or at least verified as such, that's what it's been called, right?
Yeah.
So I don't see any issue with the headlines per se.
I think the thing is right now in the news media and what people have almost become accustomed to is things are so ridiculous that even with all these headlines, there's even a photo that actually captured the bullet whizzing past Donald Trump.
Yeah.
There's calls that is fake.
Yeah.
So I think there's no way that you can close off or quantifiably totally get these people to stop calling it a conspiracy theory. And I think the more it just feels like it's so polarized, right?
Yeah.
That they will always be, and the more they try and prove it, the more people will say it's fake.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous, lah. And in your mind, it just plays in regardless. I mean, I think right now there's overwhelming evidence that it did happen, that it was an assassination attempt.
Yeah.
And then you look at these diagrammatic representations of how close Donald Trump was to having his brains blown out, right? Then you think, what would have happened after that?
Yeah. That's the big debate, right? About what happens. I mean, the results of this assassination attempt, right?
Yeah.
Because, in the scenario that Donald Trump actually was shot, it could be a very seismic move, right? That causes a lot more conflict in a very heated election cycle.
It could literally kick off a civil war, man.
Yeah.
And a few months ago, there was the movie Civil War.
Yeah. Exactly.
About a hypothetical civil war in the US.
Yeah. But even with what happened, the fact that Trump wasn't actually shot in the head, now it has pushed the current debate in the elections in a different cycle, in a different direction already, right? I do feel for the last week and a half, people are talking about Biden's age and the debate about how whether he's fit to run for office, right? But now the narrative is about this whole assassination and what it means for Trump already, right?
Can you imagine Biden? He was like, I had a long flight. I was cold. Jet lag, Then a week later, his opponent literally survives a shooting.
Assassination attempt,
Survives an assassination attempt. After getting shot, still stands up and has, the passion to tell people to fight.
Yeah.
So you look at it, right? I mean,
but that's why I wanted to ask, right? Why is it that people are saying that this makes Trump look like a sure win for the election?
Yeah, to me, it's if there was an election tomorrow, I think he'll win.
Yeah. Why?
I think because this one is almost like when you see what is the stereotypical motivational tale. Someone falls, but it's not how you fall, it's how you pick yourself up again.
Yeah.
Literally, he got shot in his ear. Multiple gunshots were running out. He didn't know where the shooter was, and yet he still stood up, to stand for what he believes in, which is like fair, like textbook lah, you know.
Yeah.
So that it tugs that at that emotional thing. Like, oh shit, like he really cares that much.
Yeah.
He really can be so inspiring. That's one thing. And I think, I mean, I've heard some anecdotal interviews with people, his hardcore supporters, quite a few mentions of how this is an act of God. And you know, like it is divine lah.
Yeah.
So they have to support him.
Yeah. I've seen a meme lah, where basically they show that the image of the bullet whizzing towards him, and then there's a pair of God's hands on Trump's
Turning
shoulders.
him.
No, and then just about to stop the bullet lah coming. So that's come out as a meme. I mean, not as a meme, but as an image that I guess people are sharing on the internet lah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, anytime someone, no matter how much you dislike someone or something, when they've been through something traumatic like that, there is a general, I don't know, like likelihood that people would like soften up towards them. And I think in a political contest like this, that emotional thing can have a lot of weight lah.
Yeah. And it creates a lot of buzz about it. Like all the, like even Singapore, Lawrence Wong also wrote in a Facebook post, our thoughts are with the family of the deceased and those injured impacted by senseless attacks, and relieved to hear reports that he's safe and recovering well, right?
Yeah.
So he becomes a topic of international discussion against amongst like political leaders from all around the world, right?
Yeah.
So it's by association, suddenly there's this feeling of like, wow, this guy's presidential, right? Everyone's talking about him again.
Yeah.
And I mean, actually, one thing also was like for me, I thought the last time there was an assassination attempt on a US president was Ronald Reagan in 1981.
American president,
yeah. So that makes it like almost like 43 years since then. So it's really like, you know, once in a generation kind of thing lah. And for it to happen to Trump, I'm not saying that that's a good thing or anything, but it just becomes, you know, another milestone in history lah, right? If anything, another chapter in history. And it kind of like frames Trump as like this very unique, one of those presidents who has gone through a very unique experience, like, right?
Yeah.
And it's very memorable. Now everyone's talking about it and has heard of what happened and all, and seen how close it was to actually being successful. It's just, I mean, even for not people who are not religious, there's just this feeling of like, wow, inevitability, lah, right? That this guy could if he can surmount this, I mean, he can easily become president, right?
That's why. And I mean, even the pictures, you know, there's that one picture of him with his fist up, his Secret Service around him, and the American flag in the background.
Yeah.
Like, even if you key into AI, give me the most patriotic picture of a US president after going through, it wouldn't be able to churn out something like that.
Yeah, correct.
Right. And then, like, you know, the thing is, that night, I think at midnight, he landed in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And the next day, he was back at his rally.
Yeah.
He never even take MC, you know.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
You know, and like, you see that kind of thing, you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And then on the other flip side, I think Joe Biden has now apologized for using the word bullseye in an NBC interview.
Previously, yeah.
Which I found a bit weird, because once you apologize for using it, then you're kind of taking responsibility for causing it lah.
In some ways, taking responsibility for ratcheting up the temperatures in the room, right?
Or maybe just using terms like that, you know.
Yeah. Because I think it's a good time to just take stock also, right? About like, what the kind of words that people are using to throw at each other and how it might affect people who, I mean, 20-year-old essentially is just like barely an adult, right? A 20-year-old adult who, like, you know, reads a lot of probably online forums and reads very extremist material about each of the presidential candidates. Maybe it just feels like, you know, this is bullshit, and then I'll just take out whoever I can take out lah.
Yeah.
It causes potential violent scenarios like this lah.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, like, was there like I mean, you mentioned the photo was like a very big thing in terms of like
capturing the moment,
right? But for you, what do you think is like the most memorable aspect of this, seeing this whole thing unfold lah?
I think what Trump did with his fist pumping and saying fight, fight, fight. I think that's going to become a chant.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think it'll be a chant for all his supporters.
I see.
Yeah, for you?
The blood. Because a lot of people pointed out, I mean, at first as a joke and things like that, Trump is a World Wrestling Entertainment Hall of Famer. Like he's in the Hall of Fame.
Really?
Yeah. Because he has done he has done segments on wrestling back in the days, like when he was Celebrity Apprentice and all that, right? So there's this very big thing in wrestling called I think it's I can't remember what it's called, but it's when wrestlers like they use like small razors and they cut themselves on the face, to create blood on the face and all that. And there have been instances in like some of the biggest wrestlers' careers, like Stone Cold Steve Austin, for one, right, where they blade themselves and then in a match, and then they fight until they pass out from, and then it looks really gory because there's blood and they pass out on the floor and everything. And that marked for them like when their career started, just went crazy lah. When the crowd just decided like, wow, what a performance and what a sacrifice, and it just went through the roof lah.
Yeah.
So some people are saying like, oh, this is like a WWE Hall of Fame. He's doing that blading lah. Basically, he's blading himself to do it lah. But the blood, like there's some visceral reaction that that comes through that as an audience member, someone watching it, right? You just feel more for the person, and it maybe can mark the start of like super meteoric rise in popularity.
Yeah.
So yeah, just seeing the parallels there was like, wow, I mean, if it was, people are saying if it was staged, it was like really staged perfectly, right? Everything's just got blood, got the angles, got the photo, everything.
But there's one reason why people also are theorizing that it's staged, because that blood thing, right, is not like people do it professionally.
Yeah, exactly.
You watch wrestling, you cannot tell whether it's real or not because they're so good at it.
Yeah, exactly.
So then you listen to that, you're like, don't get sucked into that. Don't get sucked into that.
Yeah, and it's always they do it very secretly. Like they have like the wrist tape.
Oh yeah.
Then they put the blade in the wrist tapes. Then when they get hit by a chair or something,
take it out.
They'll be rolling on the floor. Then they'll take out the wrist blade, just cut a little bit, and then throw the blade. Throw the blade. Yeah, so it's done very discreetly, so you don't even notice it, lah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like regardless, like the blood is there. When sometimes you hear politicians or entrepreneurs say, I've shed blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
Sweat and tears, you can imagine, like. Yeah. Well, blood, you're always like, just calm down, like, okay.
Yeah,
if I say, for Yellow Boy, we shed blood, sweat, and tears, people are like, okay, sweat, tears, can be
much.
Blood, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's Trump, right? No, it's there already.
Yeah.
The whole world has seen it.
You can't fight it, lah.
Can't fight it. So then you look at this, you're like, whoo. Wow, Biden,
Yeah. And it's the juxtaposition of Biden barely being able to even like catch his breath while talking on stage. You juxtapose that with Trump like getting up after being shot in the head, getting shot in the ear, getting up and still saying fight, fight, fight. And
he appeared at the Republican National Convention with a bandage around his ear.
Yeah.
And people still clapping, and people were chanting fight, fight, fight there.
Yeah. That could become his like like what the pineapple was for Tarman. Like the ear bandage could be the thing for Trump.
Yeah, you show support. You show support with
make
ear
America
bandage.
great again. A MAGA ear bandage.
Okay, MAGA ear bandage. Walao, how Biden going to fight?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's kind of crazy, lah. Quite crazy that this happened in our times,
Yeah. And I mean, one thing is that the fact that he had access to a semi-automatic
the shooter.
Yeah. Apparently, in that part of Pennsylvania, gun culture is big because like there's hunting and all that. But it also kind of like brings the conversation around guns, right? And Trump, who has been a big supporter of like the right to have guns. I mean, now, can you really say guns are dangerous? You're like, hey, I cannot shot before and I still want guns. It also adds weight to that, lah.
Yeah.
So it just feels like, wow, like the Democrats, if they don't do something, it's going to be a Trump win, man.
Yeah.
There's still one more debate, right?
I think at least
still one more president or
more than one more. I think.
Then there's a vice presidential debate.
Yeah, there's vice presidential because this one that just happened a couple of weeks ago. That's the earliest that they've ever done a presidential debate, I believe. Yeah, but it's just kind of crazy that all this unfolded, and I mean, even when you were in the US, did you attend any of these big rallies?
No, I didn't, man. And it was a pity because Obama got elected then.
Yeah.
Correct. Then I couldn't give a shit, lah.
Yeah. I think I've attended. I think John Kerry when he was running against George Bush that time. I think he had one rally like that on our university campus.
Oh yeah.
And I did remember attending, but it was such a big event, and then I wasn't anywhere near the stage or anything at all. But I just remember how big it was and how difficult it would be to to really control everything in there, because we're talking about thousands of people attending and all, So, like what you said, like these rallies, when you see the pictures of it, what you see is usually the close-up of the speaker.
Yeah.
But you think about sprawling space that this rally is happening in, to secure all four corners and everything, actually is also quite tough.
Yeah. And I mean, like I think there's a lot of talk about his security detail and how I mean, ultimately this was a rally organized by the Republicans, right? So it doesn't reflect well on them also that the shooter managed to get through.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that, my God, like the next few months.
Yeah. But have you seen how have people reacted? Like what are they saying about Trump itself? Because what I've seen is a lot of for example, I follow a lot of UFC fighters. And a lot of them have posted like, wow, Trump is the OG, he's a gangster.
Now he got drive-by shooting already almost.
Yeah, almost like, wow, he's like, they're comparing him to all these like rap stars of yesteryear and all that, like Notorious B.I.G. and all that.
Yeah.
What have you heard about?
I mean, I've seen Elon Musk like publicly endorse Donald Trump.
Oh yeah,
and wish him like safe and good health. Apart from that, not so much. What have you seen?
Yeah, like what I said, I even see even some local Singapore personalities also
Oh, he's the OG.
Yeah, saying that Donald Trump's the OG and gangster and all that
I see.
So it's a lot of whatever it is, however much you follow politics on that, you definitely heard of this assassination attempt, and a lot of people are just still talking about it and buzzing about it.
Yeah, man. And I mean, the investigations are still continuing. I'm sure the next few days also there'll be a lot more coming out.
Yeah.
And then once you have the next debates, because I think Trump also announced his running mate, right?
Yeah, J.D. Vance.
Yeah. And whether the Democrats are going to change Biden out, doesn't look like they will.
Yeah. Tough one, man.
Tough one, man.
And especially the victims, the people who got shot as well during the rally. Like, there was one fatality, right?
Yeah.
The 50-year-old guy who was a volunteer firefighter who was trying to protect his family. Very sad case also.
Very sad case.
But that's what's going on in America. But sometimes, like now, it seems like America has identified a new hero in Trump. But closer to home, in Singapore and Malaysia, people are trying to build up their own heroes as well by giving them very, very unique names. But what is this discussion about?
It is the news following a Facebook post on July 8th by the Malaysian National Registration Department, where they kind of advise parents about some names, the do's and don'ts of naming their babies.
Yeah.
So they said, you should not use names with negative connotations like evil, bodoh, and busuk. Bodoh means stupid and busuk means smelly.
Yeah.
And they also cautioned parents against naming their kids things like Skibidi, or like having names that don't even have vowels like YT, JT, and USY, UX. So they have visuals, like literally bodoh, busuk, harimau, Skibidi, evil, a big cross.
Yeah.
Dato, Tan Sri, Puan Sri, Haji also know.
Yeah.
Chunix, YT, JT, USY, UX.
Yeah.
Don't have also.
Yeah. What is, just to clarify, Tan Sri, Puan Sri, what do those stand for?
Those are kind of like official titles.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have someone, it's almost like a sir equivalent. Tan Sri is a big deal. Like your Dato, you're a big deal also.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, what made you want to talk about this, Terence? Would you name your kid Skibidi? Why is this debatable?
I don't know, man. I thought it was interesting because it's people in naming their children are trying to keep one-upping each other, right? And finding more and more unique names.
Yeah.
For their children. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the common thing I hear now is that a lot of young kids this generation bear the name Jaden or Caden. Jaden, Caden, Aiden, something done is like the norm these days, right? And it really was a generational thing. I don't think anybody was named like Jaden like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, right? What are the very common names that you've been hearing
That
from young
that
kids?
not that wasn't common back then.
Yeah.
Wow, can't think of anything, sir.
Mm.
But I know the Aidens. I never had a friend growing up called Aiden, Hayden,
Yeah.
or Jaden.
But now that you see a lot more young people with those names.
God.
Yeah. But I mean, in that sense, can you blame people for wanting to be more unique in how they name their children?
Especially when, you look at Elon Musk's kids.
Yeah.
His third kid with the singer Grimes.
Yeah.
Do you know her name?
It's some scientific term,
Techno Mechanicus Musk. Yeah. So, I mean, I think, I don't know, I've never met Beckham or anything, but I know there are people called Beckham.
Yeah.
But would you have issues with parents who name their kids Skibidi?
I would not have issues with the parents, but I think their child will have issues with them. I don't know if you remember 10 years ago in Singapore, there was that case of a Singaporean man who was arrested for a certain crime. So his name happened to be Batman bin Suparman.
Yeah.
So, that created a little bit of buzz on the internet as well. But it's not something that I think anyone wants to grow up with, right? The kinds of things that you probably go through in school if your name is Batman, I cannot imagine that, right?
Yeah.
So same thing for Skibidi or bodoh or those kind of negative connotations to your name. I can't see how it can be anything good. It might be funny for a short while, but once he has to actually enter the real world, it's hell on earth for him, or him or her, right?
But you think like the stuff like that, the authorities should step in?
I think so. I think because the authorities do step in on, let's say, like when you're naming a business and all that, you can't. There are also restrictions on what you can name your business. Like you can't call yourself like a government kind of name, right? This is the Department of Defense or something like that. You're not allowed to do things like that. You see. So I would think that actually names also, there can be certain restrictions on some names, right? Like if someone wants to name themselves after, I don't know, Hitler or something like that, someone should step in, right?
Is there a Hitler anywhere in the world?
Yeah. I'm sure there are.
Or Stalin?
I'm sure there are. So I'm saying in places like Singapore, Malaysia, I think we can there can be some oversight from authorities to prevent parents from.
But you think it's a very conservative way of thinking?
Conservative in what sense?
Like whether in the West, these kind of things, more free speech,
not all free speech is a good thing also.
No, I asked that because apparently in a few years ago in France, 2016, a French court blocked parents from naming their baby girl Nutella.
Yeah.
Arguing it would make her the target of mockery. So that was the actual reason.
Yeah.
And then another couple was banned from naming their daughter Fraser, which is strawberry. Yeah. So, but also it was apparently only in 1993 that French parents were allowed to name their children as they pleased. But a registrar can still step in to think if he thinks the name is a bit too creative or could subject the child to mockery. So I think France has that background in being very strict about it, because in the 18th century, apparently you could only name your kids after a number of popular saints or famous figures.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. They were in 1966 was when there could be alternative spellings and foreign names, but it was still controlled.
I see.
So I think France is one extreme.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you can imagine in the US and the UK, probably you can name your kid anything.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have an issue, if I think the authorities should step in. To me, you don't name your kids Skibidi, just name your kids. There's so many other things to worry about, parents. But you want to create an industry to police what people name their kids.
Yeah.
I don't know, like if it's racist or hate speech, then let that hate speech thing, the laws around that govern it. But if a person wants to call their kid, I don't know.
A vulgarity? Is that okay?
Depends, like shithead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So this is what that's the
You want to do that to your
that's
kid?
a hint. Now you're making basically an apology for what you're going to name your kid.
Hey, no. It is an argument at home that I'm bringing up to the podcast.
Yeah.
No. But I think, I mean, as long as, but there are laws already that govern hate speech and seditious speech. Then if you want to name someone that flouts that, then you get in trouble. Apart from that, Skibidi, man, Skibidi Tan, go ahead.
But wouldn't it? I mean, that's the thing, right? It is an adult of the parents who are naming it for the child, right?
Yeah,
and the child has no say over the name.
yeah,
But the child will bear the brunt of the bullying or what that could happen, right? From the naming of the thing, right?
yeah.
And the parents might not even be around, like even at that point of time when the child's going to school or that. So shouldn't there also be someone who step in on behalf of the child just to protect the child from instances like this, lah?
But how you know? Maybe Skibidi would make the child damn cool. And then they are projecting their own beliefs of what would result in mockery.
Yeah.
Which also feels a bit presumptuous, lah.
Correct. Yeah.
You know?
No, because the other thing also is that you can change your name, lah.
Yeah, you can change your name.
As an adult, lah. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if there's a minimum age to change your name or what.
Probably, I think.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing, lah, right? That means you still have to wait until a certain age, lah.
Yeah.
So you're stuck with a name that your parents give you.
What about clothes or haircuts? If you look at my pictures when I was young, right, my shorts were up to my nipples.
But you can change out your clothes, right? Doesn't make sense, right? Change clothes you can change out easily. But hair you can cut it any way you like. But your name is your name. It's like in official documents, you gotta write it everywhere you go.
Yeah, right? But like my point is like parents do a lot of things that might subject their kids to being mocked by other kids.
Yeah.
So at what point you want to draw a line?
When it's something on an official document that has to follow you around regardless of how you're feeling that day, right? There's nothing you can do. Like you want to sign up for anything online or what, or you just book a Grab, you have to put your name also, right? And then if your name is something like I'm stupid or something, that's not good for you, right?
Yeah lah, it's not, you can argue it's not good for you, but I still feel that like this kind of things, I don't think there needs to be authorities around naming of people's kids. Like, I don't think there needs to be rules. If there hate speech, seditious speech, let that take care of it.
Yeah.
Apart from that, name your kids Skibidi, Nutella, go ahead, man.
I'm okay with like Skibidi and all that, lah. But there's certain ones that I think straight up like saying stupid or something.
Busuk,
yeah, stupid or ugly or evil, like really negative connotations, right? Then I feel okay, got issues, those that I feel a bit more, then maybe must protect against the
harimau is tiger.
Actually that's okay, right? Because I mean there are cultures in which like you name yourself after animals as a nickname and all, it's okay, also, right?
Yeah.
So that one I'm not very sure, but maybe tiger means something more in
then badass culture. Like some people were saying, oh, it's bad, the word, but badass means like baller. So that's why I think it's too subjective already.
Yeah.
Then you have to go to court and fight it out and shit like that.
No, but maybe that's where it might. I also don't think it should be a wild west of anything also. I think there should be some guidelines in place.
Does Singapore have rules for names?
I said like naming companies, or there are some rules, right? There are some rules so you don't contravene certain official names and things like that. So I don't see why you can't have something like that for.
But I think companies different because companies incorporated, there's a minimum age that you have to incorporate, so you're adults, right?
Exactly. Even then, also like as an adult, it's already being controlled. So when it comes to a kid's name, shouldn't it be?
But then you should be in the control of the parents.
And that's the thing, parents. Do you trust all parents to do things in the interest of their children?
No. Then if you want to go on that path, then I think some people maybe shouldn't even have kids.
Correct. That's true. Yeah. Exactly. So that's why now we take away there's some agency. There's too much agency on allowing them to name the children whatever they want. So maybe we need to remove a bit of that agency also,
Serious,
Yeah.
Nah, like looking at this, I don't think there are rules for names. Though can't confirm. But yeah, I think in this case, I don't think that there needs to be regulations around names.
Yeah, I think certain categories okay lah. I mean like you tell me no syllables. I mean like no what do you call it? No vowels or something. Okay, it's a bit creative and all that. Hard to pronounce but creative. But when it comes to negative things like bodoh and evil, and all that, then I think have to take a second look at it.
I can see the argument being like, okay, this is child abuse.
Exactly.
Yeah. So child abuse, I mean, okay, if it's negative, bodoh.
Yeah. Child abuse.
Child abuse.
Yeah.
Wow.
Would you advocate for your child to wear a sticker on the back that says bodoh and go to school every day?
But I mean, that one is.
You wouldn't want it, right? But that's the name.
I wouldn't want it, but if someone wants to do it to their kid,
I know. Then you would actually call the school and say, "Hey, there's this thing going on. There's a parent who's humiliating their child." Then, oh, sorry, that's actually the name. Then you'd be like, "What the fuck," right? So that's what I'm saying, lah. It is, to me, it's borderline abuse already.
That means it has to be a case by case, lah.
Yeah, I mean, they are trying to set some guidelines here, lah, right? No negative words and things like that. So I actually think it's a step in the right direction to have a bit more oversight.
But this feels like guidelines. Don't know whether they'll actually be, whether it's illegal.
Yeah.
Right,
correct.
It's guidelines.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm surprised this hasn't come up in Singapore yet.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it comes up.
Never comes up.
I mean, there's no crime in naming your child like trendy names, like what you said, Beckham or anything like that. Right? But to start calling them like Hitler or
but
something.
But then suddenly you call your kid Cosby.
Bill Cosby.
Yeah. Then after a while get cancelled. Because language also changes with times, right?
Correct.
So suddenly Alan, like now you name your kid, but in 10 years' time, then can you be retroactively punished for naming your kids? Cannot.
Hard.
So Skibidi now. So okay, maybe there's a difference between words that are already like what the Malaysian authorities say, like negative connotations.
Yeah.
Skibidi, that one I have no issue.
Yeah.
Bodoh, busuk, all that one I can see some argument. But Skibidi, right?
Yeah.
That one I think is fine.
Or even Cosby, because it was a name by itself already.
Yeah.
So I think actually it's okay lah.
Yeah.
Because it's just a name. It's a name that is used for multiple people.
Yeah.
So but I mean, hope that if you all have any interesting names that you've seen people actually have, please share them as well in our Reddit, our subreddit, and I'll tell them. I'm interested to hear what crazy names you've heard of Singaporeans.
Crazy names,
yeah.
But yeah, man.
But cool.
Cool.
Talking about comments and all, like, what is your one Shiok comment?
My one Shiok comment. Will you have yours? Oh yeah, I have. I mean, one Shiok comment from Snoodingoos 316 5 days ago on the episode we did about Kwa Ting Wen.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, I have been listening and sometimes watching you guys on YouTube. I have never ever seen Tristan. I'm a little curious. Maybe one day you guys should interview Tristan and they assume it was a girl at first. She can spill all the tea about working for you. There was some debate. But some pointed out that Tristan is a he, but there's curiosity around you, Tristan.
Yeah,
the enigma that is Tristan.
The enigma.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
What about you, man?
Mine's from YouTube. Like I don't know how to pronounce this. Anyway, this person says, "Thank you for explaining the details objectively regarding the Kwa Ting Wen and Gan Ching Hui saga. It was done very factually and objectively. I felt that all people should not simply form their opinions based purely on the media headlines without first understanding the facts. However, it's unfair to say that Singapore Aquatics is not prioritizing the relay event." And this person goes into a lot of details about why he or she thinks so. So I thought it was a very fair point that this person raised here. So thank you for coming by YouTube and commenting there as well.
Coming by YouTube. Yeah. Cool, man. And what is your one Shiok thing?
Let me just pull it up. Well, do you have yours?
My one Shiok thing, I finally started watching the 99 documentary on Amazon Prime, which is a 3-episode documentary series about the treble that Manchester United won in 1999.
Okay.
And it's treble 3 episodes because they won the domestic league, the domestic cup, and the European Championship. And it was made by the same people who made the Beckham documentary.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it has appealed not just to football fans, because my wife is watching with me and she's enjoying it as well. But to me, it really was nostalgic.
Yeah.
Like certain parts I felt like tearing up. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Because that era of Man U was like a lot of those
childhood.
Yeah, a lot of those footballers are like my football idols. So it was nice reliving those moments.
So why is your wife wanting to watch it also?
Because she really enjoyed Beckham.
But she grew up with
her family is Liverpool fans.
Got it.
Family Liverpool fans. So, and I mean, it's still a documentary that's rooted in the human stories lah. And it gives you a peek into what life is like as a professional footballer lah.
I see.
Which is quite interesting lah.
Got it.
And what about you, man?
Mine is the podcast, the Ezra Klein Show. It's a New York Times opinion podcast, and I think he did this podcast, and this was like last week, I think, where he examined whether Kamala Harris actually is an underrated candidate for president, because a lot of people are talking about Kamala Harris. At first, they were writing her off as like no one wants her to be president, right? But as the days go on and seeing Joe Biden and the fallout from the last debate, there's been a lot of examination about whether she can actually be a worthy candidate against Donald Trump. And I thought this podcast was pretty good because it went into the real nuances of the fact that she was a public prosecutor and everything beforehand, and why she has this perception of being very unpopular or can't connect with people and things like that, and versus like people who actually work with her and say that she's actually really warm and really easy to be around. So I never examined it myself, but now that people have been deep diving into it, you understanding her a bit better, and just because she could potentially play a bigger role.
Suddenly they swap. She becomes presidential candidate and Joe Biden becomes the...
I don't think they'll swap, but there is an advantage to her becoming the presidential candidate in the fact that she can tap whatever money has been raised so far because she's part of that same presidential ticket.
I see.
So it would ease a lot. They wouldn't have to go through a whole other round of like raising funds and everything. Or there would have to be some legal challenges to overcome to do so. So there is some logistical benefit to her stepping up to the plate. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, so I thought this was a pretty interesting podcast to listen to.
Cool, man.
But cool.
So that's the end of the episode. Remember, if you enjoyed this, please just follow us on social media, follow us on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, leave us a rating on Spotify if you haven't. And if you want to work with us, what should they do, Terrence?
Check out ministryoffunny.com. Our contact details and our portfolio is there.
Sweet, man. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.